Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. What if I told you that the single most important factor separating winners from losers, the fulfilled from the frustrated, and the empowered from the defeated, isn't talent, isn't luck, and isn't even intelligence? It's attitude. Yes, attitude. That invisible force shaping every decision, response, and result in your life. It's the lens through which you see the world and how the world sees you in return. Let me tell you a quick story. A young man once full of dreams found himself stuck in a job that drained him, surrounded by people who complained more than they contributed. Every day he woke up tired, mentally heavy, going through the motions with no spark. But one day, almost out of desperation, he picked up a little book. A simple book, not flashy, not complex, but it hit like lightning. It said, "You can't control the weather, the economy, or other people, but you can control your attitude." That man was me, and that shift changed everything. The book that ignited that transformation? Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. Jeff wasn't born a motivational speaker or a best-selling author. He was an unhappy lawyer, trapped in a life he didn't love, until he decided to change his mindset, and that decision reshaped his destiny. Through a series of practical, no-fluff lessons, Jeff Keller breaks down how changing your thoughts truly can change your world. This video is for anyone who feels stuck, discouraged, or simply ready for a new chapter. Maybe you're grinding hard but getting nowhere. Maybe you're surrounded by negativity, at work, in your relationships, even in your own head. This book is your wake-up call, and this video is your roadmap. Today we'll dive deep into the powerful concepts of attitude is everything. We'll uncover the key lessons that transform not just Jeff Keller's life, but the lives of countless readers around the world. We'll break them down in a way that's simple, relatable, and, most importantly, actionable. No fluffy motivational quotes that fade by morning. Real shifts you can start applying today. Here's what you can expect. First, we'll explore how your thoughts are the seeds of your reality and how mastering your mental garden is the foundation of all success. Next, we'll look at the power of words, how what you say is either building or breaking your future. We'll talk about visualization, how to build unstoppable belief, how to bounce back from failure, and why action, not perfection, is the secret to progress. And of course, we'll share real-life examples and practical steps so you don't just hear these ideas, you start living them. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a new lens, a sharper, more hopeful, and more powerful way of seeing your life and your future. You'll understand why attitude isn't just one thing, it's everything. So whether you're watching this at a high point in life or in your lowest valley, stick with me. Because the difference between where you are and where you want to be, it starts with your mindset. And that's exactly what we're about to change. Let's begin. Part 1. What is attitude? The foundation. Your attitude is your mental filter, the lens through which you see the world and your place in it. It's the quiet voice in your head shaping how you interpret everything around you. When something goes wrong, attitude determines whether you see it as a devastating defeat or a valuable lesson. When someone criticizes you, attitude decides whether you take it personally or use it as fuel for growth. In its simplest form, attitude is your inner posture toward life, and it impacts every thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take. Jeff Keller defines attitude not as some fluffy motivational buzzword, but as the foundation upon which your entire life is built. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same situation. One emerges stronger and wiser, while the other becomes bitter and stuck. What made the difference? Not talent, not education, not even luck. It was attitude. Your attitude shapes your thoughts. Your thoughts feed your emotions drive your behavior, and your behavior creates your results. If you want to change your life, you don't start with your job, your relationships, or your bank account. You start with your attitude. Keller famously writes, "Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude." Let that sink in. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about what school you went to. It's about the mindset you bring into each day. This means that no matter your past or current situation, you hold the power to rise, to become more, do more, and live more by adjusting your attitude. That's a powerful truth. Consider this. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times while trying to invent the light bulb. When asked how it felt to fail so many times, he didn't speak of defeat. Instead, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's attitude. Edison didn't let failure define him. His attitude allowed him to persist where others would quit. That persistence, rooted in mindset, changed the world. Or think of Oprah Winfrey, born into poverty in rural Mississippi, facing abuse and rejection in her early life. She could have easily carried a victim mindset into adulthood, but she chose something different. She chose to believe that her circumstances didn't define her potential. Her positive attitude, her refusal to let pain become her prison, turned her into one of the most influential women on earth. That's the transformative power of mindset in action. Attitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's not blind positivity or ignoring reality. It's about choosing your response. You don't control what life throws at you, but you always control how you catch it. Do you dodge responsibility and blame others? Or do you stand up, own your journey, and grow through it? Do you see challenges as roadblocks or as detours leading to something greater? That choice is attitude. Keller breaks it down simply. There are two types of people, those with empowering attitudes and those with defeating ones. People with empowering attitudes see opportunity in every problem. They speak in terms of solutions. They focus on what they can control. On the other hand, those with poor attitudes dwell on problems, blame others, and complain without action. These mental habits become self-fulfilling prophecies. You get what you focus on. To build a powerful attitude, you have to be intentional. It doesn't happen by accident. Every morning, you must decide, how am I going to approach today? Will I face challenges with courage or fear? Will I speak words that uplift or tear down? Will I act with purpose or drift through the day? Your answers will shape your outcomes. One of Keller's most practical insights is that your attitude is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. That means reading uplifting content, surrounding yourself with positive people, being aware of your self-talk, and constantly checking your mindset. When you feel yourself slipping into negativity, catch it, interrupt it, replace it with something constructive. Over time, your attitude becomes a tool, not a trap. It's also important to note, attitude is contagious. Walk into a room full of pessimists and it pulls you down. But walk into a space with energy, hope, and purpose, and you rise. That's why who you spend time with matters. Guard your mental environment as fiercely as you guard your home. Because attitude isn't just about personal development, it's about emotional hygiene. Let's look at one final example, Nick Vujicic. Born without arms and legs, Nick could have given up on life before it began, but instead he chose to live with purpose. He became a best-selling author, international speaker, and founder of a nonprofit. Not because he had every advantage, but because he had the right attitude. He believed that even with the world's greatest limitations, he could still inspire, still serve, and still live a life of impact. That's what a winning attitude looks like. In the end, here's the truth. Talent can get you in the door, but attitude decides how long you stay. Circumstances can shake you, but attitude determines whether you break or bend. Life will test you, but with the right attitude, you become unstoppable. So the next time you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or discouraged, don't look outside. Look within. Your attitude is the one thing no one can take from you, and the one thing that can take you anywhere you dream to go. Let it be your superpower. Let it be your foundation. Because when attitude is right, life begins to shift. And that's when everything changes. Part 2. The power of positive attitude. A positive attitude isn't just about smiling through difficulty. It's about reshaping your entire experience of life. Jeff Keller, in Attitude is Everything, argues that your mindset is the steering wheel of your destiny. When you decide to adopt a positive attitude, you take control of how you interpret events, how you respond to setbacks, and how you engage with the world. A positive perspective doesn't erase life's challenges. It transforms how you see and respond to them. It's the difference between being crushed by failure and being carved by it into someone stronger, wiser, and more focused. One of the most immediate benefits of cultivating a positive attitude is increased resilience. Life is unpredictable. Disappointments, rejections, and failures are inevitable. But with a positive mindset, those experiences become stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. You start to see setbacks as setups for comebacks. Keller emphasizes that adversity reveals your strength. The question becomes not why me, but what can I learn from this? That shift alone can be life-altering. Resilience isn't about never falling. It's about rising each time you do. Positive attitudes also shape your relationships. Think about it. People are drawn to those who uplift, encourage, and radiate belief, not in a naive way, but in a grounded, sincere one. When you approach people with positivity, it breaks down barriers and builds trust. Keller points out that relationships, whether in business or personal life, are largely influenced by how you make others feel. A positive person listens more, criticizes less, and looks for solutions instead of blame. That kind of presence becomes magnetic. It creates harmony, deepens bonds, and often leads to unexpected opportunities through the trust and goodwill you build. Opportunities themselves are more likely to appear when you adopt a positive mindset. Not because the universe magically hands them to you, but because positivity fuels action. When you believe good things are possible, you try more, risk more, and persist longer. You develop what Keller calls an I can mentality. Consider someone like J.K. Rowling, who faced repeated rejections before Harry Potter was finally published. Her talent alone wasn't enough. It was her belief, her attitude that carried her through. That same principle applies to all of us. With a negative attitude, even a golden opportunity will be overlooked or dismissed. With a positive one, even a small crack in the door can be pushed wide open. The science behind positivity backs this up. Keller introduces readers to concepts like neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change itself based on thoughts and habits. Positive thinking literally rewires your brain, making optimism more natural over time. There's also the law of attraction. While it's not a scientific law, it's a powerful metaphor. What you consistently focus on expands. Focus on problems, and you'll find more. Focus on growth, solutions, and possibilities, and those become more visible. It's not magic, it's mental filtering. Your brain becomes trained to seek out what you expect. The result? Your external world begins to reflect your internal outlook. Of course, a positive attitude doesn't mean blind optimism. Keller is clear about that. Positivity is not pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's not about denying pain or sugarcoating reality. Instead, it's about choosing to face that reality with strength, hope, and a determination to move forward. It's empowered realism, acknowledging the darkness while holding on to the light. That balance is crucial. Without it, positivity becomes toxic or delusional. But with it, positivity becomes a superpower. Real-world examples make this principle undeniable. Consider Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Or Nelson Mandela, who emerged from 27 years in prison, not with bitterness, but with the resolve to heal a divided nation. Their secret wasn't just skill, it was attitude. They looked at adversity and saw opportunity. They chose to believe, to act, and to persevere. And that belief reshaped history. So why does all this matter for you? Because your attitude is the one thing you can always control. You may not be able to change your circumstances immediately, but you can change how you view them. You can choose what story you tell yourself. Are you a victim of fate or a student of life? Do you see walls or doors? Do you ask, why this happening to me? Or what is this teaching me? The answer is up to you, and it changes everything. Jeff Keller's message is clear. When you change your attitude, you change your life. Not overnight, not magically, but undeniably. One thought at a time, one action at a time, one day at a time. Whether you're facing a tough challenge, pursuing a dream, or just trying to find a little more meaning in your daily routine, your attitude is the key that either locks the door or opens it wide. Choose wisely, choose powerfully, choose positively, because attitude is not just everything. It's the beginning of everything. Part 3. How to develop and maintain a winning attitude. Developing a winning attitude isn't about flipping a switch. It's about making a conscious, daily decision to shift your mindset toward positivity, possibility, and purpose. Jeff Keller's Attitude is Everything outlines a practical, powerful roadmap for this transformation. The journey begins with awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Take a moment to reflect. How do you usually react to stress, criticism, failure, or opportunity? Your habitual responses reveal your true attitude. Are you driven by fear or confidence? Do you see problems or possibilities? Start tracking your mental habits. Awareness is the first victory. Once you're aware, you're at a crossroads of choice. This is the foundation of Keller's message. You can choose your attitude every single day. It's not something that happens to you, it's something you shape. Even when life deals a tough hand, your attitude determines how you play it. Remind yourself, today I choose to respond with hope, courage, and purpose. That simple declaration, made repeatedly, rewires your brain to support your intention. To support that new mental architecture, use affirmations. These are not just feel-good slogans, they're mental blueprints. Keller recommends crafting positive, specific statements that reinforce the attitude you're building. For example, I am confident and capable, or every challenge is a stepping stone to my growth. Write them down, repeat them out loud, especially in the morning or during stressful times. Over time, your brain will internalize these beliefs and begin to operate from them automatically. Visualization is another powerful tool in your attitude arsenal. Before great athletes perform, they visualize the win. Why? Because your brain begins to accept what it repeatedly sees. Keller urges readers to visualize their success, not vaguely, but vividly. Close your eyes and see yourself giving that presentation, closing that deal, getting that job, or overcoming that fear. Imagine the details, your expression, the setting, the feeling. This mental rehearsal creates a sense of inevitability, making you more likely to take aligned actions. Your environment also plays a huge role in shaping your mindset. Negativity is contagious, but so is positivity. Take inventory. Who do you spend the most time with? What kind of content do you consume? Are your surroundings helping or hindering your growth? Keller suggests surrounding yourself with positive people, uplifting messages, books, videos, and affirmations. Declutter your physical space if necessary. Protect your emotional space fiercely. You can't maintain a winning attitude in a toxic environment. Then comes action. One of the most empowering concepts Keller teaches is act as if. Don't wait to feel confident, act confident. Don't wait until everything's perfect, start now. Behavior shapes attitude just as much as thoughts do. If you want to be optimistic, take actions an optimistic person would take. If you want to be resilient, keep going when it's tough. The more you act in line with your desired attitude, the more natural it becomes. To anchor all of these habits, Keller recommends a few practical exercises. One is the attitude journal. Each night, write down one thing you did well, one thing you're grateful for, and one positive affirmation. Another is the negative thought buster. When a negative thought arises, pause, write it down, and immediately reframe it into a positive or neutral one. These simple practices, done consistently, train your brain to shift from reactive to proactive, from defeatist to determined. Consistency is everything. Your attitude is like a garden. It needs daily tending. Some days you'll feel off track. That's normal. What matters is returning to your tools, affirmations, visualization, mindful awareness, and conscious choice. Keller stresses that building a winning attitude isn't a one-time event. It's a lifetime commitment. But the rewards are extraordinary. More confidence, more peace, more progress, more joy. Ultimately, a winning attitude isn't just about thinking positive. It's about living with intention, responding to life's difficulties with grace, and committing to growth over comfort. It's about becoming the kind of person who sees possibility where others see dead ends, and who keeps moving, even when the road is hard. Keller's formula is simple but powerful. Think positive thoughts, speak positive words, take positive actions, and watch your life change from the inside out. Part 4, The 10 Attitude Principles from Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. Everything begins with attitude. In Attitude is Everything, Jeff Keller outlines 10 powerful, transformative principles that have helped thousands shift from defeat and mediocrity to fulfillment and success. These are not motivational quotes to be forgotten tomorrow. They are life philosophies that, when applied with intention, can reshape your identity, your outcomes, and your future. 1. Your attitude is your choice. You don't choose the weather, the economy, or what someone says to you, but you do choose how you respond. This is the core of Keller's philosophy. Your attitude isn't something you inherit or stumble into, it's something you decide. Consider Viktor Frankl, who found purpose while imprisoned in a concentration camp. Even in hell, he realized that man's last freedom is the ability to choose his attitude. That power belongs to you too. The next time you catch yourself complaining, pause. Ask, what response empowers me right now? 2. Attitude always comes first. Many people believe success creates a good attitude, but Keller flips this. Your attitude creates success. It precedes skill, opportunity, or luck. If you show up to life defeated, even great opportunities look like burdens. But if you show up with a positive, expectant mindset, life begins to bend in your favor. Think of the athlete who visualizes victory long before the game starts. It's not superstition, it's neuroscience. Energy precedes results. 3. You can change your attitude. Some people wear a bad attitude like a badge of honor, as if being cynical is a form of intelligence. Keller challenges this. Your attitude isn't cement, it's clay. Through awareness, repetition, and intention, you can reshape how you think, speak, and show up. It begins with recognizing toxic thoughts and replacing them with empowering ones. This is not wishful thinking, it's mental training. Repetition builds grooves in your brain. Choose your groove wisely. 4. Attitude is contagious. Your energy infects others. Walk into a room full of complainers, and soon you'll start to echo their negativity. But walk in radiating hope, solution-mindedness, and excitement, and watch the atmosphere change. Keller says we're all thermostats, not thermometers. We don't just reflect the emotional temperature, we set it. So ask, what attitude am I spreading in my home, my work, and my friendships? The answer might shape more lives than you realize. 5. Be a winner. Think like a winner. Winners think differently. They look at the same problem as everyone else, but see possibilities instead of roadblocks. They speak in terms of solutions, not blame. Keller insists that you don't need to wait until success arrives to think like a winner. Start now. Winners rehearse victory. They don't entertain failure as final. The next time you're facing something tough, imagine how someone strong, determined, and optimistic would respond. Then do that. That's how transformation begins. 6. See every challenge as an opportunity. What if obstacles weren't there to break you, but to shape you? Keller learned that life's problems often contain the seeds of our greatest growth. Think of Oprah Winfrey, abused, poor, underestimated. She didn't just overcome challenges, she turned them into fuel. Every time you face something hard, ask, what's this teaching me? How is this building my character? The shift in perspective could change everything. 7. Failure is a stepping stone to success. To Keller, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the path. The only real failure is quitting. Every successful person you admire has a history of falling, learning, and getting up. Consider Thomas Edison, who tested 10,000 filaments before inventing the light bulb. Keller says when you fail, don't ask, why me? Ask, what now? Get up, adjust, and try again. Failure is feedback, not the end. 8. Your mind is a garden. What you plant, you will harvest. You wouldn't plant weeds and expect roses. Yet every day, many people feed their minds with doubt, fear, gossip, and negativity, and then wonder why their lives lack joy. Keller urges us to treat our mind like sacred soil. Nourish it with books, empowering thoughts, affirmations, and vision. Pull out mental weeds before they spread. Because what you feed your mind, you eventually live. 9. Take responsibility for your life. Blame is easy, but it leaves you powerless. Keller emphasizes that until you take full ownership of your life, your actions, your habits, your results, you will remain stuck. Responsibility doesn't mean guilt, it means power. If you created it, you can change it. If you're willing to stop pointing fingers and start making moves, transformation is not only possible, it's inevitable. 10. Success is a journey, not a destination. Lastly, Keller reminds us not to wait until we make it to feel good. Success isn't a place you arrive at. It's a path you walk. Enjoy the process. Grow daily. Be present. Celebrate progress. Every step counts. You're not behind. You're becoming. When you live with the right attitude, every day becomes meaningful. not just the days when you win. In summary, Keller's 10 principles form a powerful life system, one that doesn't depend on circumstances but thrives in spite of them. When you own your attitude, you begin to own your destiny. Part 5. Overcoming negative attitudes and limiting beliefs. Negative attitudes are like invisible chains. They hold us back from potential, limit our happiness, and sabotage our ability to build fulfilling relationships or achieve success. Jeff Keller, in Attitude is Everything, tackles these destructive mindsets head-on, emphasizing that while we may not control what happens around us, we do control how we interpret and respond to it. To move forward, we must first identify the beliefs and patterns that keep us stuck. Common negative attitudes and limiting beliefs show up in countless forms. Fear is at the core of many of them. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. Doubt whispers that we're not good enough or that success is reserved for others. Then there's the victim mentality, which convinces us that life is unfair and we are powerless. Procrastination, another common trap, is often rooted in perfectionism or fear, dressed up as indecision. These thought patterns become habitual, forming a default response to life's challenges. Left unexamined, they shape our identity and limit our outcomes. But where do they come from? Most often, these beliefs are planted early, by authority figures, experiences, or cultural messaging. A child told they're not smart might carry that label into adulthood, avoiding challenges or growth opportunities. A single business failure can lead someone to believe they're not cut out for entrepreneurship. Negative beliefs form when a painful moment is repeated in our minds until it becomes a narrative. And once internalized, we stop seeing them as beliefs and start accepting them as truths. Keller argues that the first step to transformation is self-awareness. You must pause long enough to observe your internal dialogue. What do you say to yourself when things go wrong? What beliefs do you hold about success, happiness, or your worth? Journaling is a powerful tool for uncovering these patterns. Write freely about your fears, your excuses, and your goals, and look for recurring themes. Are you writing your potential into the ground or building it up? Once these beliefs are on paper, the next step is to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this belief true? Always true? Where did it come from? Whose voice am I really hearing? Mine or someone from my past? If a belief doesn't serve your growth, it's time to replace it. For instance, if you believe, I always mess things up, counter that with evidence to the contrary. Recall moments of competence, strength, and resilience. Your mind is not a courtroom. It accepts whatever evidence you present most frequently. So change the story. Keller emphasizes the power of affirmations and visualization as tools to reinforce a new attitude. These aren't magic words. They're mental training. Repetition builds belief. If you say, I am confident and capable, every day, even when you don't fully feel it, you start creating new neural pathways. Visualization works the same way. Olympic athletes use it before races. They mentally rehearse victory. You can too. Picture yourself speaking confidently, nailing that presentation, building your dream business. Over time, your brain starts acting as if those scenarios are already familiar and achievable. Another powerful technique Keller recommends is replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Write a list of your negative beliefs. Next to each one, write a new, empowering belief that supports your growth. For example, limiting belief, I'm too old to change. Empowering belief, I have decades of experience to build on, and I grow stronger every day. Make this a habit. Post your new beliefs where you'll see them daily. On your mirror, your phone, your journal. Consistency is the key. You didn't develop negative thinking overnight, and you won't uproot it overnight either. But with daily commitment, change becomes inevitable. Real transformation comes when these practices are backed by action. Don't just think differently, act differently. If you've always hesitated to speak up in meetings, do it once. If you fear networking, attend one event. Small wins build confidence. Keller often reminds readers that action precedes belief. You don't wait to feel courageous to act. You act your way into courage. One of the most powerful stories that illustrates this transformation is that of someone Keller mentored, an insurance agent named Tom, who struggled with self-worth and rejection. Every phone call felt like a threat to his ego, but by journaling his negative beliefs and replacing them with affirmations like, I bring value to every conversation, and visualizing successful calls, Tom's attitude and results began to shift. Within months, his sales soared, not because the industry changed, but because his internal dialogue did. You may not sell insurance, but the principle is universal. Your mind dictates your reality. What you believe, you become. And if your life feels small, limited, or stuck, it's not because of your circumstances, it's because of the lens you're using to view them. Ultimately, overcoming negative attitudes is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that you have the power to shape your experience. Life will challenge you, yes. You'll have setbacks. But with a resilient, empowered attitude, those challenges become stepping stones instead of roadblocks. In Attitude is Everything, Jeff Keller doesn't promise that changing your thoughts will eliminate all problems, but he does guarantee that it will change your response to them, and that in turn changes your life. The journey from limitation to liberation begins with a simple, powerful choice: to no longer be the prisoner of your old beliefs. Start today. Challenge what limits you. Rewrite your story, and watch as the world shifts to match your new mindset. Part 6. Attitude and Success: How it Transforms Your Life. Attitude is not just one ingredient in the recipe of success, it's the foundation. It colors every thought you have, every word you speak, and every action you take. If you want to transform your career, build meaningful relationships, improve your health, or grow personally, the place to begin is not with a new strategy or resource, it's with your mindset. Jeff Keller's Attitude is Everything makes a compelling case that attitude is the invisible force that either propels you forward or pulls you back. And the good news, you get to choose it. In your career, attitude can be the game changer that separates you from others with equal or even greater skill. Think about it. Employers hire not just for ability, but for attitude. Who do they want on their team? The person who approaches problems with curiosity, solutions, and optimism, not someone who complains or makes excuses. Keller, who transitioned from a dissatisfied lawyer to a motivational speaker and author, shares how it was a shift in his attitude, not a change in talent, that redirected the course of his life. He decided to stop blaming the job and instead started asking how he could bring more passion and purpose to his daily life. That question and the attitude behind it changed everything. Look at Oprah Winfrey's story. Born into poverty and enduring a tumultuous childhood, she could have easily adopted a defeated mindset, but she chose a different path. Her attitude of resilience, learning, and belief in personal growth turned adversity into an engine for success. Oprah's rise from local news anchor to global media mogul wasn't just due to talent or timing, it was her relentless, forward-focused attitude that magnetized opportunities and inspired millions. In relationships, your attitude determines how you connect with others. Do you listen with empathy or defensiveness? Do you assume the best or expect the worst? A positive, open attitude fosters trust, communication, and intimacy. Keller reminds us that our attitude is contagious. When you bring joy, patience, and understanding into your relationships, those around you respond in kind. Even difficult dynamics begin to shift. Families heal, friendships deepen, teams collaborate more effectively. Simply put, a better attitude makes you more attractive, not just romantically, but professionally, socially, and spiritually. Health is another arena where attitude exerts quiet but profound power. Studies consistently show that optimism is linked to lower stress levels, stronger immune function, better heart health, and even longer lifespans. Why? Because how you think affects how you feel and how you behave. People with a proactive, hopeful attitude are more likely to exercise, eat well, and take care of themselves. They bounce back faster from illness and cope better with chronic conditions. Attitude, it turns out, is a powerful prescription. No pharmacy needed. The ripple effect of a changed attitude is one of the most beautiful and underestimated forces in the world. When you elevate your mindset, you don't just lift yourself, you lift others. Parents pass it on to children, leaders pass it on to teams, teachers pass it on to students. It becomes a chain reaction of confidence, encouragement, and effort. Keller shares stories of people who, after reading his book and shifting their attitudes, not only improved their lives, but sparked change in their families, schools, and communities. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's not just resilience, it's attitude. It's seeing the bigger picture in the midst of disappointment. Edison's mindset didn't just lead to the invention of the light bulb. It illuminated the world. Attitude doesn't just guide your success, it determines the scale of your impact. Attitude also attracts opportunity. People want to work with those who are confident, enthusiastic, and reliable. Opportunities are often invisible until your attitude changes. A person with a poor mindset can be surrounded by resources, ideas, and connections and still miss them all because they're focused on lack, failure, or limitations. But shift your mindset and suddenly those same opportunities appear. You begin to see connections, possibilities, and open doors that were always there. You just weren't ready to recognize them. Keller emphasizes that success is not a destination. It's a journey shaped by how you show up every day. He reminds us that each moment is an opportunity to either reinforce an empowering attitude or a disempowering one. And that makes the process of transformation both humbling and hopeful. You don't need to change your job, your income, or your location to start. You just need to change your attitude. So what does this mean for you? It means you have immense power. Right now, today, you can start choosing thoughts that support your success instead of sabotage it. You can shift how you speak to yourself and others. You can wake up with intention instead of dread. You can decide that every challenge you face is not a punishment, but a chance to grow. That's the power of attitude. And that's where success begins. Imagine how different your life could look if you committed to one simple thing: upgrading your attitude. Imagine the opportunities you'd seize, the relationships you'd strengthen, the health you'd restore. And more than that, imagine the person you'd become. Jeff Keller's Attitude is Everything isn't just a book, it's a mirror. It shows you who you've been and who you could become. Success, happiness, growth, it's all within reach. But first, you must choose the lens through which you view the world, because that lens shapes everything. Today, choose to see through the eyes of possibility. Choose gratitude over complaint. Choose hope over fear. Choose growth over stagnation. Choose action over excuse. Choose a new attitude and watch your life transform. Part 7. Attitude in Action, Daily Habits and Practices. If attitude truly is everything, as Jeff Keller convincingly argues, then the question becomes, how do we make sure our attitude stays empowered, positive, and proactive, day in and day out? The answer lies not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent daily habits that train our mindset like a muscle. Just as physical fitness requires regular workouts, mental and emotional fitness demands intentional practice. The good news is that these practices are simple, accessible, and incredibly powerful when applied consistently. Let's begin with morning affirmations, one of the most effective tools for setting the tone of your day. Affirmations are positive statements you repeat to yourself to program your subconscious mind. They help redirect your focus from fear to faith, from limitation to possibility. Imagine starting your day by saying, "Today is filled with opportunities and I'm ready to embrace them," or "I am resilient, capable, and full of energy." These aren't just feel-good quotes. They are verbal anchors that influence how you think, feel, and act throughout the day. Keller emphasizes that your first thoughts in the morning set the stage for everything else. So why not begin with words that empower? Next, incorporate visualization exercises into your routine. Visualization is the mental rehearsal of your goals and dreams. It's seeing yourself succeed before it happens. Olympic athletes do this. CEOs do this. Top performers across every field do this. Why? Because your brain doesn't differentiate much between a vividly imagined event and a real one. When you visualize yourself confidently handling a presentation, crushing a goal, or navigating a challenge with grace, you're training your brain to expect success. Keller suggests spending just 5 minutes a day imagining the life you desire in as much sensory detail as possible. What does it look like? How does it feel? Who are you with? Where are you going? Visualization aligns your attitude with your ambitions. Another non-negotiable habit is gratitude journaling. It may seem simple, but the impact is profound. Each day, write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental. A good meal, a kind word, a breath of fresh air all count. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what's missing to what's present. It reminds you that abundance already exists in your life. Keller explains that gratitude helps combat negativity, entitlement, and self-pity, 3 major attitude killers. When you're grateful, you're naturally more optimistic, present, and generous. And that positivity influences everything from your relationships to your productivity. To anchor yourself in the present and reduce stress, engage in mindfulness and meditation. These practices quiet the noise of the outside world and bring your attention inward. Mindfulness teaches you to observe your thoughts without judgment. Meditation helps you develop a calm, focused, and resilient mind. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day can help reset your attitude, especially during tough moments. Keller didn't originally come from a mindfulness background, but he points out how slowing down and becoming aware of your thoughts is crucial to making empowered choices. Mindfulness teaches you that while you can't always control what happens, you can always control how you respond. Another key habit is the regular review of goals and attitude principles. Your goals are your compass, and revisiting them often helps you stay aligned. Keller suggests writing your goals down and reviewing them each morning and night. But don't just look at the outcomes. Also review the attitude principles that support those goals. For example, to achieve this, I must stay solution-focused and optimistic. Or, to build this business, I must embrace setbacks as part of the journey. This creates a powerful feedback loop. Your goals shape your behavior, and your attitude sustains the motivation needed to reach them. Of course, all of these practices only work if you commit to consistency and resilience. There will be days when you don't feel like doing affirmations or journaling, days when negativity seems stronger than your positivity. That's normal. What matters is that you show up anyway. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum transforms attitude into identity. Keller reminds us that change doesn't happen overnight, but every small step compounds. Just like brushing your teeth, these attitude habits aren't optional. They're hygiene for the soul. Finally, Keller encourages us to create a personalized attitude toolkit. This is your collection of go-to practices, reminders, and rituals that help you stay grounded and focused. It might include your favorite quotes, a playlist of uplifting music, a vision board, a morning routine checklist, or even a note from a loved one that inspires you. The goal is to make positivity and purpose a lifestyle, not just a momentary mood. When life gets hard, and it will, your toolkit will be your anchor. Here's how your daily attitude and action routine might look. Morning. Wake up, read your affirmations, visualize your top goal, and write down 3 things you're grateful for. Midday. Take a 5-minute mindfulness break to check in with your thoughts and breathe deeply. Evening. Journal about your attitude that day. What went well? What challenged you? How can you respond better tomorrow? Over time, these small habits create a huge shift. You'll notice that you recover faster from setbacks. You'll start seeing opportunities where you used to see problems. People will comment on your energy and outlook. And most importantly, you'll feel more in control of your life. Not because circumstances change overnight, but because your attitude does. In the end, attitude isn't just a concept, it's a practice. And like any practice, it requires attention, effort, and heart. Keller's message is clear. Don't wait for life to get better to change your attitude. Change your attitude and life will follow. Start small, stay consistent, and remember that every positive thought, every empowering word, every mindful breath is a step closer to the person you were meant to become. Today, your attitude is in your hands. What will you do with it? Conclusion. Your attitude is your life. After everything we've explored together, one truth rings louder than all the rest. Your attitude is not just a part of your life. It is your life. It's the lens through which you experience everything. It shapes your thoughts, fuels your emotions, drives your decisions, and ultimately creates your reality. You can have the best skills, the strongest network, the most promising opportunities, but without the right attitude, none of that will matter. On the flip side, even when your circumstances are limited, your resources are few, or the odds are stacked against you, a powerful, positive attitude can lift you to incredible heights. Throughout this journey, we've unpacked Jeff Keller's timeless wisdom in Attitude is Everything. We learned that attitude is a choice, your greatest freedom in any situation. We saw how it precedes success, how it shapes your outcomes, and how it is always within your control. We discovered how positivity doesn't mean ignoring reality, but choosing to face it with courage, resilience, and hope. And we understood that to cultivate a great life, we must first cultivate a great mindset. We've walked through daily habits that anchor a strong attitude, morning affirmations that rewire our thoughts, visualization practices that make our dreams more real, gratitude that softens even the hardest days, and mindfulness that helps us stay grounded. We've seen how limiting beliefs like fear, self-doubt, or negativity can be dismantled through self-awareness, new empowering beliefs, and consistent action. We explored how attitude impacts every domain of life, your relationships, your career, your health, and your influence on others. But none of this matters unless you do something with it. Knowledge without action is empty. So here's your call to action, your challenge. Commit to one small, intentional shift in your attitude today. Maybe it's choosing to respond with calm instead of anger. Maybe it's writing your first affirmation or starting that gratitude journal. Maybe it's reaching out to someone with encouragement instead of criticism. It doesn't have to be big, just start. That single shift might be the beginning of a whole new chapter in your life. Jeff Keller reminds us with piercing clarity, success is not where you are, but who you are. And who you are is deeply defined by how you choose to show up each day. Your energy, your words, your mindset, your spirit. That's attitude. And that's why attitude really is everything. So let me leave you with one final quote that has moved millions. Watch your thoughts for they become words. Watch your words for they become actions. Watch your actions for they become habits. Watch your habits for they become character. Watch your character for it becomes your destiny. It all starts with your thoughts, and your thoughts are guided by your attitude. If this video stirred something in you, if it made you reflect, feel empowered, or even just smile, drop a comment below. Tell us how your attitude has shaped your story, or share one attitude goal you're committing to right now. Let's inspire one another. And if you're hungry for more tools, insights, and motivation to keep growing, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is just the beginning. We're building a community of mindset warriors and positive thinkers who know that change begins within. Your attitude can open doors or close them. It can lift others or drain them. It can lead you to a life of purpose or trap you in patterns of pain. The good news? You get to decide. So stand tall, speak life, act with courage, and live every day with the kind of attitude that transforms not just your world, but the world around you. Because your attitude is your life. Make it a masterpiece. Bonus: overcoming doubts and empowering your attitude. Changing your attitude sounds simple on paper. Just think positive, right? But if you've ever tried to shift your mindset and found yourself stuck or frustrated, you're not alone. Many people struggle with common doubts and objections when it comes to transforming their attitude. So let's address some of the most frequent questions and barriers and empower you to move forward with confidence. Is attitude really that important? What if I'm just unlucky or have bad circumstances? This is a classic concern. Life throws challenges at everyone, but attitude is the difference between letting those challenges defeat you or using them as stepping stones. Consider Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. His attitude wasn't about luck, it was about persistence, hope, and learning. Your attitude doesn't erase hardships, but it changes how you respond to them, giving you the power to create new paths. I don't know how to stay positive when life feels overwhelming. This is real and valid. Positivity isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything's fine. It's about choosing to focus on solutions, gratitude, and growth even in tough times. When you feel overwhelmed, start small. One deep breath, one positive thought, one moment of gratitude. Over time, these add up and shift your mindset. Remember, attitude is a daily practice, not a one-time fix. What if I fail? Won't trying just lead to disappointment? Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. A positive attitude helps you view failure as feedback, not final defeat. It builds resilience, so disappointment becomes fuel, not a roadblock. Every successful person has faced failure. The difference is their attitude toward it. Now here's a brief story from a viewer who transformed their life with an attitude shift. I used to think I wasn't cut out for success. I was stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and negativity. After watching your video on attitude, I committed to daily affirmations and reflection. Within months, I felt more confident, started pursuing my dreams, and even got a new job I love. It wasn't easy, but changing my attitude changed everything. If you're ready to begin your own transformation, here's a quick guided affirmation and visualization exercise to get you started right now. Affirmation. Repeat quietly or aloud. I am the master of my attitude. Each day I choose thoughts that empower me. I am resilient, capable, and worthy of success and happiness. Visualization. Close your eyes and picture yourself waking up tomorrow feeling energized and positive. Imagine facing challenges calmly and confidently. See yourself smiling, interacting with others kindly, and taking steps toward your goals. Feel the strength and peace that comes with this attitude. Hold this image for a few moments, letting it settle in your mind. When you open your eyes, take a deep breath and carry that feeling with you. Remember, this is your power. Your attitude shapes your destiny. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to change your attitude. Start now with small steps. Repeat these affirmations daily. Visualize your success. Build your attitude muscle, one day at a time. And know that every positive thought and action is a victory on your journey. If you found this helpful, leave a comment below sharing your favorite affirmation or how you plan to shift your attitude today. Let's support each other in this powerful journey of transformation. You have everything you need inside you to create the life you want, one attitude choice at a time.